Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of English with Chris presents English Word of the Day. And today's word of the day is fruition. So without any further ado, let's jump into the content and find out a bit more about the word fruition. Fruition is a noun and it's pronounced fruition, fruition. So if we look at the definition here, we can see if something comes to fruition, it starts to succeed and produce the results that were intended or hoped for. So let's look at some examples. This word, I don't think we need as many examples as I usually put on screen, so I've scaled it down to 3, but I'm pretty sure that you're still going to come away from this episode with a firm grasp of the word fruition, and hopefully you'll be using it yourself soon. So our first example here, we have, after many obstacles, our dream of owning a house has finally come to fruition. So if we again look at the definition and then look back at this first example sentence, we can see that if something starts to succeed or it produces the results that were intended or hoped for, then that's going to be the word fruition. So here we can see after many obstacles, so there were things that set them back, their dream of owning a house has finally come to fruition. So it's finally come true, it's finally happened. So our next example here, we can see we have did not come to fruition, unfortunately, but there's always next year. So this sentence I took from a very long article. I wasn't able to put the full sentence because it was an incredibly long sentence. But a little bit of context, they were talking about some space events, and I think this particular shuttle didn't quite achieve the goals that they wanted. But then we have this sentence, it did not come to fruition, unfortunately, but there's always next year. So although it did not happen, so it didn't go the way it was intended to this year, they still hope that next year it will come to fruition. Okay. So last but not least here for our examples, we have Australian Open. Madison Keys' dream quarterfinal matchup comes to fruition. So this is a very recent example. And we can see that again, so Madison Keys' dream quarterfinal matchup comes to fruition. It's come true. Like her dream opponent, the person she most wanted to play against, she now has the opportunity of playing against. So that's great. I've unfortunately not been following it so much this year. I'm quite a fan of tennis usually, but great news for her. Okay, so these are our examples. As we can see, basically we can use this as almost a synonym for something's come true, a dream come true, a dream's come to fruition. So let's go on to our next slide here. And as usual, it's now your turn. So if you could you please use the word fruition in a sentence? That would be great. I look forward to seeing those. And can you remember yesterday's word of the day? Hopefully. Okay, hopefully you've all been doing that. I know there's not always enough time in the day. We're always very busy. But things like this really help turning passive vocabulary into active vocabulary. So if you can find the time, that would be great. And if you do remember yesterday's word of the day, what was it? What was the definition, the meaning of it? And could you write your answers in the comments below? I will, of course, have a look at those. I'm sure you'll all come up with some great examples. So anyway, that was it for today's episode of English with Chris presents Word of the Day. Today's word was fruition. So hopefully you'll all come back tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing you then. Take care. Bye bye.